Lux your way with the Lux Cravings boxes from Taco Bell. There's the classic $5 box, the indulgent $7 box, and a whole new obsession in the $9 box, the flaming hot grilled cheese burrito. Try the Lux Cravings boxes at Taco Bell today.
How's your day going?
Going good. Thank you. Yeah.
Check out the all-new Blue and Orange store at the Boise State Hall of Fame. The Blue and Orange store has your best game day gear. We're talking jerseys, hats, bumper stickers, car flags, more than 4,000 hats on the hat wall. If you want the best Boise State gear, make sure you check out the Blue and Orange store online at theblueandorangestore.com or the all-new Blue and Orange store down at the Boise State Allen Noble Hall of Fame.
As sports fans, we may cheer for different teams, but there's one thing that we can all agree on. We want the game to be big. And with 3 levels, 30 cabanas, a 143-foot screen, 6 clean pools, and endless cold drinks, it doesn't get any bigger or any better than Stadium Swim in Las Vegas. All sports, all seasons. It's more than a pool deck. Stadium Swim. It's the only thing like it in the world.
Really, guys?
What? Jackson always has his game ready.
Let's go!
It's the all-wheel drive event at Lithia Ford of Boise. From hunting trips to ski trips to trips to Grandma's house. Nobody does AWD like LFB, Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho.
Find your sun with Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea. Made with real iced tea and real vodka. Cold, refreshing, and made for moments like these all year long. Let the good times cruise with Sun Cruiser.
When I want Boise State to win, I trust Coach Rice to lead the Broncos to victory.
And when I want the best painting and garage floor coating, I trust rowpaint.com to get that job done right.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Bronco Nation News Live is the only daily show that talks nothing but Boise State sports. And we do it with you. Give us your comments or questions in the ICCU YouTube chat. Or leave us a voicemail on the Signature Roofing voice inbox at speakpipe.com/BNN. BNN broadcasts come from the Sun Cruiser Studios. Sunny days call for Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea. Made with real iced tea and real vodka. It's refreshingly smooth and easy to drink. Crack open a Sun Cruiser and let the good times cruise. Bronco Nation News is presented by our title sponsor, Lithia Ford of Boise, and our major sponsors, Taco Bell, Idaho Central Credit Union, RoadPaint.com, and the Blue and Orange Store. At Lithia Ford of Boise, we're proud to stand with Boise State athletics. Through our NIL marketing partnerships, we're investing in the future of student athletes. Lithia Ford of Boise, here to get you there, wherever that may be. Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho. Broadcasting from the Sun Cruiser Studios, here's BJ Rains with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Hey, how we doing, Bronco Nation? Happy Monday to you here at Bronco Nation News, bronconationnews.com. It is Martin Luther King Day today. A lot of the kids are off school, businesses are closed, so we obviously honoring Martin Luther King today, and and what he meant for this country, but excited on a Monday to still be able to get a show off for you as we get set to head to Laramie, Wyoming. Man, that light is way brighter today. I'm going to have to turn this light down a little bit. Sorry about that. It is a Monday, and we still got a show for you here on Bronco Nation News.com. Brad Bedell is going to join us here in a little bit. We'll talk some football. We'll talk some portal. And then preview the national championship game tonight. Who you got, Miami or Indiana? And then we will head off to Laramie, Wyoming this afternoon, flying to Denver, and then driving Laramie, Wyoming. Looking forward to Laramie. Nathaniel says, love Laramie, love Born in a Barn. Their little local watering hole there. May make it there tonight to watch the football game, have some wings. But for the most part, that is not a trip that I'm going to be missing. Let's just say that moving forward here. And it's not even the town. Like, Laramie is okay. It's fine. It's just getting there is just such a pain. You got to fly to Denver, rent a car, drive 2.5 hours to get to Laramie, and the weather's usually bad and the roads are dangerous, and it's just not a super fun trip. So it is what it is. But like I said, excited to get there, excited to see if Boise State can keep this winning streak going and get 2 wins in a row and see what this can become moving forward here for this team, because I still think there's a lot of wins left on the schedule for the basketball team. As bad as it's been, I still think there's reason and intrigue the next couple of months to see what they can do, and certainly an interesting game tomorrow. So we'll talk basketball. Again, heading to Laramie this afternoon. Game tomorrow night at 6:30. Live pregame, postgame shows on Bronco Nation News from the Arena Auditorium there in Laramie. So looking forward to getting there. And I assume you guys can hear me okay, see me okay. Looks like we're good. I usually would have a complaint or something by now if you can't. Brad Bedell is going to join us here in a few minutes. We'll talk football, but obviously going to start basketball. So if you got football comments, basketball comments, make sure to throw those in the chat today. It should have a pretty good audience, I would think. A lot of you may be off work today, hanging out around the house, just waking up, having that cup of coffee, having that extra energy drink this morning. And thank you. Appreciate you for doing that with us here at Bronco Nation News. We are in the Sun Cruiser studios. How about Sun Cruiser giving us a nice little decoration for the studio here? We're still working to kind of find the perfect spot for it, but appreciate Sun Cruiser, the Sun Cruiser Studios, real iced tea, real vodka from our friends at Sun Cruiser. Make sure you pick up a Sun Cruiser iced tea, vodka, lemonade vodka, perfect beverage for the football game tonight, basketball game tomorrow. When the weather warms up, it's a great kind of day golf drinking beverage. So Sun Cruiser, let the good times cruise. And of course, our title sponsor, Lithia Ford of Boise. We appreciate them as well. Lithia Ford of Boise, online at lithiafordboise.com. You can view that full inventory of vehicles and check them out online at lithiafordboise.com, or just go check out their showroom right there on Fairview Avenue in Boise. Is Drew going to win Player of the Week? Dylan Andrews, I assume who you're talking about, had a big game, 21 points. I mean, I guess Fielder had a big game as well down at UNLV, so I'm not sure for sure who you're talking about. I think both would probably have a case, but obviously Andrews having a big game in the game they won against Colorado State would be a good reason for him to maybe have it. He had, I want to say he averaged 18 points, I guess, in the 2 games. So we will wait and see. I haven't seen usually the email comes through right when we're on the air here, so I haven't seen anything come through yet, but both probably have a case. But I would say Dylan Andrews might, in my opinion, have a little better case. We got some football predictions coming in. Appreciate that. Laradice. Yep, looking forward to going Laradice. And I'll have to cut the clip, but I mean, Sundance Wicks said on our another night in the Mountain West show that he would be, purchasing, paying for my tab tonight. So I'll see. I wonder if that, is still happening. I mean, he did say that, and I'll see if I can find the clip while we're talking here that he would, pick up the tab in Laramie. So I know he was probably kidding about that, but he said no one ever gets ready to come to gets excited about coming to Laramie. But I am excited to be going to Laramie, and excited for Boise State basketball tonight. And certainly the Broncos need to need to get a win tomorrow. And it's a tough game, tricky game. You have a 2-point spread, according to Ken Palm, actually for Wyoming. And Wyoming is actually having a pretty good year. I mean, you look at where they're at, 11-7 overall. They have lost 3 games in a row, but that's to Nevada and San Diego State. No shame there. And then they did have a tough loss to Fresno the other night, 63-60. Great game. Watched most of that. And then we had Vance Wahlberg, the Fresno State coach, join us on another night in the Mountain West the other night after that win. But they've got they blasted UNLV. I mean, Boise State has lost to UNLV. I know it was on the road, but Boise State's already lost to UNLV. Guess what? They beat UNLV by almost 30 points earlier this season. So, I mean, that's just kind of one game you can look at and say, okay, all right. Wyoming doesn't have a lot of great wins. That's probably their best win. UNLV, 137th at Ken Palm. South Dakota State, 187. Those, Austin P, 178, and Portland, 195 are the only 4 kind of top 200 wins they have. They've beaten Cal State Fullerton, who's 201, Norfolk State 300, Denver 259, South Dakota's 288. So Air Force 339. And how about Air Force and the situation they got going there with their coach? Their coach being put on leave right now into an investigation there at Air Force. If you heard that over the weekend, Joe Scott has been suspended indefinitely while they look into an investigation there. So, that's something to follow. But, Fresno actually is sneaky good this year. Fresno is not bad at all. I mean, they're decent. They went 2-18. Think about this, folks. Fresno State went 2-18 in the Mountain West last year. They're already 3-4, I think. I mean, they have more conference wins this year than they had all of last year. But you look at the Ken Palm number for the game tomorrow night. Wyoming 73, Boise State 72. So it is a 1-point spread for Wyoming. They give Wyoming a 56% chance to win. Boise State a 44% chance to win. So essentially a coin flip game. But going to Laramie, going to Wyoming, it's a tough place to play. You don't get big crowds. The weather stinks. The one nice thing is now they charter, so they charter right into Laramie. The hotel is like almost walking distance from the arena, so it's short travel once you get there. It's easy. It's a nice hotel. All of that stuff, makes it a little easier than the previous times where you'd have to fly to Denver, drive 2.5 hours to Laramie like I'm going to have to do today. So chartering in there certainly helps. Chartering back certainly helps. When that game's over at 8:30, they'll be airborne by 10 o'clock and back in Boise by 11:15 probably. I mean, they'll be back in Boise by 11:15 on a Tuesday night and then not have to play till Saturday against Air Force. So, certainly a game that on paper, the metrics say Wyoming's going to win. But Boise State needs to find a way to win this one because you look at the upcoming schedule. I mentioned Air Force on Saturday and San Jose on Tuesday. You have a real chance if you can win this game tomorrow with your next 2 games being Air Force and San Jose to get back to 5-5 in conference. If you can win these next 3 games, get back to 5-5 in conference, get to 13-8 overall. And again, nobody at that point will be setting the parade down, Capitol Street or something, or expecting this team to win it all. But you got to win the games on your schedule, and Air Force and San Jose should both hopefully be wins. Tomorrow's a swing game that you'd like to have a win, and it's why when you looked at the schedule and people were kind of thinking this was going to spiral out of control and they're going to lose. Are they even going to finish 500? I mean, they've played a really tough schedule, and if you look at the schedule, they have some pretty winnable games coming up. I mean, it's. In this league, yes, there's some tough games, but when you get Fresno, you get UNLV at home still, you get San Jose, you get Nevada at home. I mean, you have a lot of games left that are still winnable games. I mean, the Colorado State game on the road certainly won't be easy, but that's certainly a game you can win. So I still look at this schedule, and I only see a couple games on there where I'm like, they have no chance to win that game. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I don't look at the schedule and say, no chance in that game, no chance in that game, no chance in that game. Like going to New Mexico, yeah, that'll be tough at the pit, but they already beat New Mexico once. San Diego State coming here, yeah, that's going to be a tough game. But you have Wyoming coming here still. You have San Jose coming here still. I mean, you get 2 games against San Jose, 2 games against Wyoming. You still have a game against Fresno left. You have other home games against UNLV and Nevada and some of these teams that are winnable. So I still think the opportunity is there for this team to win a win a lot of games. And so primarily a football fan. Let's see here. Getting a hard watch this year, a bit bored with how they've been playing. Yeah, I get it. Been a tough stretch here, but you got the win the other night. And I've always said this, and this is no disrespect to Leon Rice or the basketball team, but at a school like Boise State that has CFP aspirations every year and is borderline top 25 every year, and when you're a premier football program, like, all you should want out of the basketball team is to kind of keep you entertained until spring ball. And that's frankly all you're trying to do. Stay entertained until spring ball. And I think for the most part, they do that. Like, yeah, were you entertained when they lost by 20 to Utah State? Like, no, of course not. But for the most part, this team has some pretty good players, has a good coach, and they keep you entertained for the most part until spring ball. And that's really all you can ask. And I think that'll be the same thing that'll happen again this year. So has it been a disappointing season overall for the basketball team? Sure. Yes, it has. And am I saying it's okay, or that the standard for Boise State basketball should just be to, get you to football season every year? No, that's not really what I mean by it. And it hasn't been a good year. I'm not taking blame. I mean, yeah, the coaching staff deserves blame. The players haven't played good enough. Like, yeah, it hasn't been a good enough year, but largely big picture wise, if you're a Boise State fan, you should just want the basketball season to keep you entertained till football season. And I think for the most part, they've done that the last decade plus. And I think they're doing that again this year. Most of these games are entertaining and fun. And so you get a couple hours to watch a game tomorrow night, and then you get ready for the next game, and you're a week closer to spring football and a week closer to the season next year. So it hasn't been a great year, but I don't think it's one where you just don't even watch it, whatever. It is what it is. Typical Leon year, puzzling loss, disappointing preseason tournament, random lull in conference, but somehow finished top 5. Yeah, that would be, I could see that. The MTE this year was disappointing, but I mean, it was a little different than like last year's where you lost to Boston College. You played 2 top 50 teams this year in Maui and on national TV and had a chance to win both games. So I wouldn't say they kind of like laid an egg or something out there. Overall, been a little bit of a disappointing year. You got the win against Colorado State. We'll see if they can turn this into something. And like I said, if you can win this game tomorrow night, you should win the next 2. Hopefully you can get back to 5-5 in conference and maybe take a deep breath and kind of see where things go. So we'll be heading to Laramie this afternoon. We'll have full coverage. We'll be live in Laramie tomorrow morning and have plenty of basketball coverage on tomorrow's show. Jay Tust will join me. We'll talk plenty of basketball tomorrow. But a nice win against Colorado State. Good to see Dylan Andrews get going and some positive momentum, and we'll see if they can carry that over to the game tomorrow in Laramie. All right, plenty of football to discuss. I want to thank a couple sponsors, and then Brad Bedell is going to join us here in just a second. Our title sponsor, Lithia Ford of Boise, online at lithiafordboise.com. Jim Sturk and Company, we appreciate them for stepping up in a big way. Folks, a lot of options here in town, but hopefully you know by now, the biggest supporter of Boise State, the biggest supporter of Bronco Nation News, Lithia Ford of Boise. So you're looking for that new vehicle, that new car or truck, Lithia Ford of Boise. Check them out on Fairview Avenue, lithiafordboise.com. You can view their full inventory of vehicles. So I mentioned Sun Cruiser. Sun Cruiser, no carbonation, low calories, low carb, 4.5% alcohol. Even if you're not a huge iced tea fan, which I'm not, somehow when you mix it with vodka and some lemonade, it tastes pretty darn good. So Sun Cruiser iced tea, check them out. Iced tea vodkas. They have the strawberry lemonade. They have the tea vodkas and also just the lemonade vodka. So check them out. Sun Cruiser. Let the good times cruise with Sun Cruiser. You can get those at Jackson's, Ridley's, your most grocery stores and gas stations there. ICCU.com, Idaho Central Credit Union. We appreciate them. There's a branch pretty much on every corner, but the easiest is that mobile e-branch online banking right there in your smartphone. Idaho Central Credit Union back on board as a sponsor with Boise State and Learfield, and we appreciate them for their support of Bronco Nation News. Check them out online, ICCU.com. Hopefully you took advantage yesterday of the 75-cent fountain drink. The Broncos scored 75 points Friday night. That means you got a 75-cent fountain drink on Sunday from our friends at Jackson's. Anytime the Broncos get 75 points, 2 days later with your Let's Go Rewards app, you can get a 75-cent fountain drink from our friends at Jackson's. And don't forget, 99-cent coffee using that Let's Go Rewards app. Anytime, day or night, a coffee or a hot chocolate, 16-ounce for just 99 cents. Again, that's Jackson's. Check them out at Treasure Valley, Jackson's location today. Taco Bell, TacoBellWorks.com. And again, Brad Bedell going to join us in less than a minute here to talk Boise State football, the college football national championship game tonight. But Taco Bell, visit the Treasure Valley Taco Bell location today. SON Management Group, the Nicolason family, saw both of the Nicolason brothers there at the basketball game on Friday night. Stephen and Stan, and appreciate them for their support. So whether it's the breakfast quesadilla, the crunchy chicken strips, whether it's the great nachos and tacos and options they have, visit a Treasure Valley Taco Bell location today. Taco Bell, we appreciate them for their support of Bronco Nation News. And I want to thank the Blue and Orange Store as well, the blueandorangestore.com. 4,000 hats on the hat wall there at the Allen Noble Hall of Fame location. You can get the customized basketball, football jerseys in minutes. They'll throw the name and number you want right there on the jersey. They have the press right there. They can do it for you in minutes. Obviously, the OG location out there at the Boise Town Square Mall, or you can order anywhere in the world online at the blueandorangestore.com. We appreciate Travis Hawks and Company and the Blue and Orange Store. All right, so we have the national championship game tonight. We have the portal closing as of Friday night. Some names are going to continue to trickle out into the portal, but it looks like on the surface, Boise State has survived any additional carnage here in the portal, and nice enough on a holiday here to join us. Probably a little shorter appearance than regular. I always say that, and it never happens, but I'm going to try to keep this show to the normal length today, maybe even a little bit shorter with my travel schedule and getting ready to head to the airport. But Brad Bedell, nice enough here on a day off for him, probably with game one, although he's always working. Brad's never sleeping. He's working 24/7 here, selling uniforms and apparel and everything else going on and his connections. But Brad, appreciate you as always for jumping on the show here on a Martin Luther King Day. We got a football game tonight. We got the portal closing. We got always football and plenty of football to talk about. So appreciate you for coming on for a couple minutes. How we doing?
Good. How are you guys?
Doing good. Doing great. Excited for the game tonight. I've doubted I've doubted Indiana pretty much all playoffs all year. And I finally bought in last game, and I thought, okay, well, this is the game they're going to lose. And then, no, they had just a super impressive performance there in the semifinals. And now you get Miami technically playing at quote-unquote home in their home stadium. But it will be, certainly more of a neutral crowd, if not a pro-Indiana crowd. Everybody saw them travel in the last couple of games. I would suspect there are going to be a lot of Indiana fans down there in Miami, a lot of Miami fans obviously as well. But I know the spread is a touchdown, about a touchdown or 7.5, 8 points for Indiana. But I think I'm expecting this to be a good, competitive, fun game, and two teams that haven't really sniffed this kind of game in a long time here. So two fan bases that been waiting a long time for something like this. So I think it's give me a game like this over Georgia, Alabama or something any day of the week.
Yeah, it's nice to see some kind of new blood, even though it's Miami. Never been a big fan of theirs, but I think it should be a good game. I think it's going to come down to everybody's kind of questions Indiana's athleticism over time, right? Are they good enough? Are they athletic enough to beat an SEC team? Yeah, we're going to kind of demolish you. Cool. And then obviously last game, Oregon, they're supposed to have the speed, the physical, whatever, and they get boat raced out of town. And so now you come in, it's this Miami defense is impressive. That front seven is as good as it gets. I think personally, I've never seen an Indiana team, if you really think about it, they haven't showed this. They never shoot themselves in the foot. They're disciplined. They play together. There's no pre-snap penalties. They rarely start behind the chains. It's just they're like a machine. And so if they can do that, I think Indiana's going to beat them. It'd be cool if you weren't muted. People would actually hear your show.
Probably better for folks when they can't hear me talk. But I was actually saying that you were going out on a real limb there when Indiana's favored by a touchdown that they're going to win the game. I mean, everyone pretty much expects, that the odds makers, whatever. This is a touchdown game. Indiana should win this game.
Well, should is a tough word. If you're a better, yeah, you're playing the odds, but I don't know. I would say I'm going to go this. How about I would say Indiana. I'm going to say this: Indiana by 13.
Okay, all right. So if I bet on a -7 and I lose, you'll cover for me.
100%. No, I don't. I know I wouldn't. But
8.5 now is the odds here at our friends at Circa.
Yeah, but I think watch. My bet is, what time is it? I think that gets to about 9.5, and then I think at about 4:00, people will start dumping money in Miami, and it'll get back down to the prime 8, 7.5. I mean, Miami fans are just praying like, come on, keep going. Let's go. Give me 10 points. Just give me 10 points.
Yeah.
And then they'll start dumping money on it, and they'll bring the line back down. But, I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
I'm with you there on Miami. I mean, the whole Michael Irvin on the sideline thing's getting a little old, and some of their history and their past. I understand that. But for Indiana, in 2 years, for Curt Cignetti to do what he's done, I mean, I saw some stat. I mean, they've literally lost more games than any like Power 4 team in history or something. They have the most losses all time. I mean, they've just been bad for so long. And in 2 years, for Curt Cignetti to be 29-2 or whatever he is, or 30, whatever it is, and have them in the championship game and just dominating. And you look at their resume. I mean, if they win this game tonight, Brad, they're going to make a case, being undefeated, and with some of the teams they've beaten record wise and ranking wise. I mean, you're going to be able. People probably laugh at this and say there's no chance, and there probably were more talented teams out there over the years. But in terms of a resume and being undefeated and what they have and being national champions, like they're gonna be in the conversation for this will be the greatest season in college football history if they win this game tonight.
I would agree. I don't think they'll be the best. I think the 2001 Miami Hurricanes, who won the championship with Coker, I was looking at the other day. They had 42 players play in the NFL. That team, I think, had 12 first-round picks and 2 Hall of Famers. Wow. And they went undefeated and they won. That's a team that kind of just got everything together, and they're freak shows. I think this team is right behind that. And I don't think the people are going to look at it and go, well, they didn't have any first-round picks. They'll have a couple. But it just goes to show you what actually discipline and playing as a team actually does. Right? I mean, it's amazing to me. You can't tell me Indiana is more talented than an Alabama or a Miami or an Oregon. They just play as a team. And I think they are the typical, if you want to look at the definition of the game of football, Indiana this year is you play as a team. There are no huge ego guys. You give your credit to your teammates. Don't take all of it. And it's like a machine a little bit. So I think it's impressive. And it gives every Kansas fan out there a glimmer of hope that a team that they can turn it around and go to a national championship.
Yeah, with a new coach.
It's just, I don't know. I think it's
no, it really does though. I mean, if you're like I said, they have. I mean, Indiana fans have been the losingest team, and they've suffered through more losses since their program started. And I know you're talking, you can, if it's not just the last 10 years, whatever, I get it. But over the history, they're the losingest. It's at least Power 4. It might be FBS team, like the most losses in their history.
That's worse than Vanderbilt. And take Vanderbilt this past season out of it. The head coach at Vanderbilt's been an unbelievable job. Don't take that. Vanderbilt was the laughingstock of football. I mean, it was the people would go to the Vanderbilt games. I heard this when I was out at Auburn. People went to the Vanderbilt game to go see their home team because they could get cheaper tickets and turn it into a home game than going to an Alabama, to Tuscaloosa, or going to see Auburn play at Auburn. They go, no, we'll just go to the Vanderbilt game and sell it out and be a home team advantage, and I get to save some money because I can just drive to Tennessee. I mean, it's just unbelievable what he's done. And he did it with a lot of, when you think about it, he went back when he got that job from JMU, he took a lot of those kids from JMU. I mean, that portal, they hit the portal, and I can't tell you how many, I think it was 5, 6, or 7 of them.
Yeah.
And so now when he did it and all that, there wasn't all this tampering stuff. Well, do I think it was happening? Probably. But now the limelight on this portal is so bad and everything is that they're accusing the Penn State coach of tampering. They're accusing the Michigan coach of tampering. It's fan bases now are crying over spilled milk when their coach leaves. And that's the way it is.
Yeah.
And a great example of this would be you have to change the calendar and the coaches would be fine. But it is what it is. I mean, you get, the kids are going to get in the portal when the head coach leaves. When the head coach leaves and says, I need a position, I trust this kid. He can play at Michigan. He understands the culture I'm bringing to Michigan. He can help me win the locker room in Michigan. I am bringing him. And that's what he did to GMU, and look at what they've done in 2 years.
Yeah, no, it shows you, A, there's good players at every level, and B, there's good coaches at every level too. And it also shows you, Brad, like, I know it's tougher too just because of the constant turnover on the roster, but it's probably, I know in basketball this is certainly the case, but I feel like in football too, that the 1 year turnarounds, the 2 year turnarounds from just being terrible to being competitive in this portal era, and then not having to sit out a year when you transfer era, the immediate eligibility, like the last 5 years has made the rules have made it a lot easier to have turnarounds like this.
There's no doubt. And I also think is football has become, well, basketball, everything, right? It's become, you better win now. You don't have very long. You really don't. And I think even with the portal era that it is now, you're expected, if you're not winning in 2 years, and you're going to a place like, Virginia Tech or Penn State, Auburn, something like that, where, there's a rich tradition in that football program. They've won a lot. Some have won Heisman trophies and national champions and all that. And you don't win in the first 2 years, there's the door. Get out. I'm going to go find somebody else because we have deep pockets. We don't care about the buyout. We're going to give you $27 million just to get out of our hair, and we want somebody else that we're going to pay and make them a winner. And he's going to go attack the portal and do all that. Now, it's helped with in Indiana. It got nowhere with Auburn. It got nowhere. And so, Oregon, they've done a great job mixing in high school portal. They just can't get over that hump to get the national championship game. If you take it to a team, Texas Tech, they spent a bunch of money in the portal.
Yep.
It paid off. Now, they lost in the playoff. I get that. But we're also talking about Texas Tech in the college football playoff with a first-round bye. So it is what it is. I mean, you're gonna put it out a little bit, but you better win in a hurry, and everybody's attacking the portal. And that's why if you really look at things, right, look at what's going on in college football. In a coaching hiring process, they get the head coach. The head coach probably immediately tries to get that staff put together as fast as humanly possible, right? So it's a lot of their buddies. It's a lot of their agents who set it up. Like, let's say, BJ, you're my agent, and you just put the deal together to be, I'm the next head football coach at Arizona. Let's just use that as an example. I know I better get this staff going, or I'm going to lose all these kids to the portal, and then I got to go recruit the portal. You're telling me, it's like, well, I got your wide receivers coach, I got your corners coach, I got your linebackers coach, because they're all my players, they're all my coaches underneath my umbrella, right? I represent them.
Yeah, my clients.
Look at the turnover of coaches on a staff on year 2. Because now they put the staff together, now they work together a year, and it hasn't gone great, and you're like, well, I don't like you. Why did I hire you? Oh, I hired you because I had to get this done. I'm going to go in another direction. Just it's the way it is.
Yeah.
There's a lot more turnover with coaching staffs in year 2 than year 3. And then I also think if year 1 doesn't go very well, you're immediately like, somebody in behind the scenes is like, hey, you better start going to a bowl game. We better see improvement, or you won't be the head coach for very long.
Yeah, it is. That whole aspect of this is fascinating. And another thing, Brad, I do want to turn this locally to Boise State here before we get out of here, but they do have to make a decision by Friday also on the college football playoff format for next season. They're in negotiations this week. A lot of them met down there in Miami. The deadline is Friday, I believe. It's either Thursday or Friday. But they have to decide on if they're going to change the format for next year's college football playoff. They have it set for 12 teams for next season, but if they can agree, they could go to 16, 24, some other format. The SEC and the Big Ten are leading this kind of charge. They have kind of the ultimate final say. If the two of them can agree on something, the SEC is wanting to go to 16. The Big Ten has this kind of weird proposal going all the way to 24. I think their proposal of 24 would give 4 automatic spots to each of the 4 power conference teams or conferences, and then 1 group of 5, and I think that's like 7 at-larges. I've seen one where 2 group of 5s can get in. There's been all different kinds of models of the 24-team playoff. I personally think that the bigger you go, the better you go. I think more everyone complains about the NCAA tournament expanding and there's too many teams. And guess what? On those Tuesday and Wednesday night playing games, everyone's still watching. Like, more tournament games I don't think that's bad for anybody personally. Like, you can't tell me that first weekend, if there's 12 games, that you're not going to be watching those. Like, I don't understand the issue. I get it. It's how many teams actually have a real chance of winning? How deep do you want to go? Do a 4th place team in the Big 12 deserve to get in, or all this? Like, I understand all of that, but for me, go as big as you can, and as long, give everybody a chance. I mean, I wouldn't even be opposed if there was some way that all 10 conference champions got a guaranteed spot. I know that's very unlikely, but like, that's the beauty about college basketball. Brad, Boise State can lose the next 17, whatever it is, 15 games left in conference, and then get hot and win 3 games in the conference tournament, and they get to go to the tournament and win 6 more, and they're national champions. Like, you have a path, every team does, to going into the season to win a national championship. A lot of teams really don't have that right now in college football, a real chance. And all you want's a chance. Guess what? If you're the group of 5 team and you're the 24 seed, but you have to go play on the road at Georgia in the first game or whatever, like, at least you had your shot. At least you were in there. So there's a lot of different formats out there. I don't know if you have one that you prefer, what you think might happen. They have to agree by Friday, or it's going to stay at 12 for next season. I'm fine with 16. Then you have no buys. That's been a problem too, with teams having these buys, in the first round. If you go to 16, you just have 1 play 16, 2 play 15. I don't know. What's your thoughts on the playoff and whether or not it gets changed by Friday?
I don't think it's going to be changed by Friday, because I think you got 2 stubborn conferences arguing, and egos are going to set in, and they will not budge. But I would do this. If I was getting in the room, like, okay, here's some compromise. Let's start with 16. Next year, write it in a clause. Next year, we're going to 18. Next year, we're going to 20. Because if you do that, because they're going to screw it up. Every year, this thing gets screwed up. I mean, so my only thing is this. I don't think people can handle the jump from 12 to 24 in 1 year. There's no chance. I think they're going to screw it up. I have no faith in anything right now with this. So now we're going to go from 12 to 24, which is doubled. And now they're going to be like, cool. Now, okay, what's the format? Good format. Then all of a sudden they're going to get in a room with those people, and they're going to screw something up. So it's almost like, we're going to give you so much you can't handle. So go to 16 this year, 18, 20, 24. At least
so what would you do for the 16? Would you just have the 4? And it sounds like the way it is worded, Brad, in this new, they stupidly signed this memorandum of understanding or whatever, back when they were talking about this. But it is right now, it's the top 4 conference champions again, or top 5. It sounds like it does officially go to the Power 4 conference champions moving forward, and then the 1 group of 5. So that's your 5 spots. Would you be just 5 plus 11, the 4 power conference champions, 1 group of 5, and then the next best 11? Or
yes.
Okay,
yeah.
Because some of the conferences, SEC, whatever, are wanting 2, 3, even 4 guaranteed spots for their conferences.
No, you're done. The conference titles go in, the group of 5 highest rank goes in, and then you rank them 1 through whatever, they're in. There is no more, hey, let's leapfrog, or my resume is great. No, you lost. You're out. Get out. You're going to rank them. Now, if the group of 5, so let's say you rank them on that group of 5 sitting at 5. Well, you just go to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then fill out through there. And you go to the rankings, and it's 1 through whatever. You guys are in, everybody else is out.
And if your group of 5 team is 23rd or whatever, they just become 16 and they get in as the last seed, and then they would just play at the number. And the one thing about that, if you go 1 to 16, you have no buys, and then teams 1 through 8 get home games. Right now, if you're 1 through 4 and get that bye, you don't get a home game on campus. You go straight to one of the bowl games. Now you would get number 1 through 8, the top 8 teams in the country, all getting a home game. And if you are, what's your reward for being number 1? Yeah, you don't get a bye, but you get to play Tulane in the first game. That's probably
at home.
I just hope it doesn't get to the point, Brad, where you're hearing some of these people go, oh, well, for the group of 5, they need to have parameters where you got to be in the top 20 to get in, or you got to be in the top 25, or we shouldn't just automatically give the group of 5 a spot if they're all terrible that year. Like, I hope I'm hopeful and confident that's not going to happen, but I do hope even if the group of 5 team's not in the top 16 or top, they would still get that guaranteed spot.
I would agree, but I think the group of 5, the highest ranked group of 5 is automatically in. There's a way that 2 can get in. If the champions are in, the highest ranked group of 5 automatically in. And then you rank
but
them.
Some people are saying they shouldn't automatically be in. They should only automatically get in if they're in the top 20 or top 25, or they should have more parameters that don't just guarantee them a spot. They have to prove during the season they're worthy.
Tell them to eat it. They're the highest ranked. They're in. And then all of a sudden, if another group of 5 sitting right in there, they're in. I mean, it's just, I don't, we all want to talk about parity. We want to talk about this, but we're going to talk about parity until it gets to the group of 5. And then you guys got to fit. You guys have to have a congressman write a letter of acceptance like they're going to the Navy to get into the playoff. It's going to take an act of Congress to get a group of 5. If they want to continue to go this route, then you know what? Then the group of 5 coaches and the ADs need to say, okay, cool. We're just going to have our own tournament.
No, don't do that.
It's going to get there.
Group of 5 tournament, and where you're just admitting your second class is just, that'd be terrible. No.
I'm not saying it'd be good.
No.
But eventually it's going to be, there are, and I could say we, because I was in the group of 5 a lot longer than I was in the power conferences, is when are you going to stop acting like the group of 5 is a stepchild of the world? And don't take that the wrong way to everybody, but come on. It's football. And have they gotten blown out a little bit? Yeah, they have. But I like the fact what you said earlier. They have a shot. And new season is a new season.
Yeah, but if you're saying to do your own playoff, then you have no shot. You're another level below FBS. You're in the middle between FCS and whatever.
You're the NIT.
You have no shot
You're the NIT.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. No. I don't care. Like I said, even if you're the 16th seed and you lose 50-0 at Alabama in the first game, you can at least say you were in the playoff and you got a shot.
Agreed. I'm hearing you. I'm not going to argue.
Starting the season, if you're Boise State or somebody's saying, now if you want to do a relegation system where, hey, we're going to move down the Vanderbilt to the world, not Vanderbilt this year, but I mean the bad power conference teams, if you're in back-to-back years, you don't go, win 8 games or something, or 6 games, and you get moved down and a Boise State has the ability to move up, I'm okay with something like that if you're going to have separate tournaments. But to just break it apart and say, Power 4, you get this tournament, Group of 5, you get this tournament, and Boise State starts the season knowing they have no chance to win a real national championship, I don't think that's right. I think that's wrong.
I agree. But I could see him getting to it.
Well, we'll see by Friday if they make a decision on that. I do want to briefly talk about Boise State and their portal stuff before we get out of here. Bauscher Real Estate, #1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley. Check him out, Matt Bauscher. Bauscher Real Estate. We bought and sold our home with Matt. Tremendous service. Appreciate him. BauscherRealEstate.com. Signature Roofing, online at mysignatureroofing.com, covering our community for more than 2 decades. Whether it's a re-roof, a repair, an estimate, or an inspection, check out mysignatureroofing.com. Hey, Element Fencing, whether it's a deck, a pergola, fencing, they got you covered. 25-plus years, family-owned fencing company, elementfencing.com. Deck, cedar, wrought iron, vinyl. Again, elementfencing.com, all your fencing needs. Hey, Ridley's Family Markets, shopridleys.com. They got locations across the Treasure Valley, state of Idaho, surrounding states. Even got one in Laramie, Wyoming, where I'll be heading this afternoon. Ridley's Family Markets. Check them out online at shopridleys.com. Rowpaint.com, Andy Rowe and Company. Appreciate them for their support of Bronco Nation News since day one. 20% off your winter painting projects, whether it's interior, exterior painting, those concrete coatings. Hit up rowpaint.com. Transportation Compliance Service, transcomservice.com. If you're looking to get into the trucking industry, they can help you out online. Transportation Compliance Service. Check them out, best in the business. They're a local company helping folks all over the world get into the trucking industry at Transportation Compliance Service, online, transcomservice.com. All right, Brad, we are officially waiting for, you have to, by Friday night when the portal closes, just basically email your compliance office and say you want to enter the portal. You have to provide written documentation. You don't actually have to show up in the portal by Friday night. Sometimes that takes up to 2 to 3 business days. So there will be some names today. There will be some names tomorrow that kind of trickle out into the portal. But on the surface, it appears Boise State has avoided any kind of major carnage in the transfer portal. Obviously lost Ty Benefield. My understanding was a lot of people in the building were thinking there was a good chance he was just going to go pro. So it wasn't like a massive loss when they found out Ty Benefield was leaving. It's obviously a massive loss, but I think they were preparing for that because they thought there was a chance he'd go to the NFL draft. But you do lose Ty Benefield. You do lose Chris Marshall, who had an up and down career, but had, some potential still with him. But overall, Brad, it was a lot of younger guys, a lot of depth guys, not a lot of starters. I mean, you talk about keeping both running backs. You talk about keeping Jaden Virgin Morgan, Max Steege, Roger Carrion, Matt Wagner, the tight end. I mean, for the most part, if you're a Boise State coach, player, fan, you got to feel pretty good that you didn't lose. We'll talk about the additions in a minute, but the losses, Ty Benefield's a big one, no doubt. I mentioned Chris Marshall, but overall, you're seeing a lot more Group of 5 schools getting just way more carnage than Boise State had in the portal.
Oh yeah, I don't think if you're expecting somebody to go in the NFL, you're moving on anyway. So I agree with you 100% there. I think they got out of that with the current roster. I think they've done another good job of retention. You had to keep what you kept, and you get to move on. I agree with you 100% that they did a good job on roster retention. Chris Marshall's the one. Now, I don't know if they're crying spilled milk. So I think they did a good job with the roster retention. I think a couple of the kids that did jump in, I think it was a good move on their part to jump in because they're possibly just not going to play here. And nothing wrong with that. I mean, I don't want to hammer kids and beat a dead horse and kick them when they're down, but I don't think they're going to play here. I think they got out recruited and weren't prepared to compete with the current roster that's on there. And so they left and those conversations were had.
Yeah. Well, I agree on that. They didn't lose a ton. And then I think the verdict's still out on these guys they're adding because they're still having visits. They're still trying to add guys. Remember, you just had to be in the portal by Friday. You can still, decide a school and pick here in the next couple of weeks. But they added an offensive lineman from Oregon State, Brad. Don't know if you saw that or know anything about him. He was a center, I believe, has 3 years of eligibility left. But they're still looking. They're still adding. Couple nice receivers. I mean, safeties. They've really added most of their positions of need for the most part. But it was Xander Esty. ESTY is the last name, from Auburn, California. Xander Esty. I believe he's like 6'5", 300 pounds, I believe. Played 174 total snaps last year. I think most of that was on special teams. But you bring in an Oregon State, one-time Power 5 lineman, and you add him to the mix. They have the CSU Pueblo kid we talked about last week on the O-line. I mentioned safety, receiver. I mean, they probably only have a spot or two left, but it really does seem like they've added, we don't really know much about these guys, Brad. Some of them put up good stats at lower level. Some of them are coming in like this guy didn't play a lot at a higher level, looking to bounce back at his spot. Like on paper, they addressed a lot of areas of need. We'll see in spring ball what that actually means.
Yeah, I mean that's what it comes down to. They're guys now. They're guys that can come in and compete and earn what they get. That's the way it is. I would say, to go back, I would say there's another guy that I really wish that was coming back was Schmidt.
Paul Schmidt. Yep.
Yeah. I know he's been injured and all that, but that's one that I wish.
He went to UCLA. So, I mean, obviously, that speaks for itself. His value that he went to UCLA.
And he's got length. The one thing I would also say that what they did with the portal up front is they got in a lot of length. Like the young man from Colorado Pueblo. I mean, he's 6'5". The young man from Oregon State, 6'5". I think they got longer at that spot, which I think was needed with what was going out. There was a couple of 6'2" kids in there, some interior 6'2" kids. So they got length, which is really good. They addressed the corner. They addressed the safety. I just think, if there was one spot that I just still that, we'll see what trickles is the running back spot. And people are going to be pissed off that the quarterback wasn't signed, but that's life. I don't care. Now the kid that left goes to UCF. So
now Steve Cooper was the assistant quarterbacks coach at Boise State, is now the OC at UCF, and he's a depth guy, comes in there third, fourth string probably. But yes, on the surface, you lose a backup quarterback to be a scholarship player at UCF. That's certainly notable.
Yep, and the linebacker was met. We talked about that at the start of the portal season. Signed linebackers. Defensive line, they got a couple, or they got one in the backfield. They got some. So I think they've done a phenomenal job hitting everything. It's just now they got to come in and adapt and compete. And for everybody who's wondering, it depends now, because the semester has started. Depends now on the university if you can sign them and get them in, and what the deadline is for that certain university to allow somebody to start class. Sometimes it's 2 weeks. Sometimes some schools are like, no, we're not letting anybody in. You're going to have to wait. And so, right now, I don't know, it's the 18th. I think Boise State, in my past, I think it's been a week or two that they can still get them in. But it's hard because some of these kids haven't made a decision, and you're going like, hey man, our deadline is approaching. What are you going to do? And some kids just say, you know what, I'm gonna hold out and wait and go to the summer, which I don't agree with, because if you're a portal kid with 2 years going and you want to start, you better get there for spring ball. So, that's kind of what that is.
Well, either way, it seems like they've hit most of their position needs. We'll see what that means. Final thing quickly for you, Brad. Boise State's still looking for a game for next year's schedule. There's only 8 conference teams right now, so that's 7 conference games. They have the 4 non-conference games scheduled, so they're at 11 games on the schedule. And there's some talk, social media and out there, that the Pac-12 may decide to go to a flex scheduling for the last game they need. Basically, Brad, tell me what you would think of this before we get out of here. Any team in the Pac-12 that is short a game, instead of just right now saying, okay, you're going to play Oregon State, you're going to play them, that'll just be a double-up game, but it'll be non-conference. Instead of deciding that now, they're just going to leave the last week of the regular season open and try to find the best matchups. If you have, 2 5-6 teams, maybe you can do that so one of them get to a bowl game. If your number 1 team is in prime position to make the playoff, you don't have to give them a hard game in the last week. Or if you have a team that needs a quality win, you could partner them up with, the second best team. But what would you think of waiting to decide the last game of the season? And it would be a non-conference game, but just mostly against conference teams, versus just now deciding who you're going to play and setting the schedule.
Stupid. Find out who you're going to play now. Come on. It doesn't.
Well, the problem is they just don't have, because they only have 7 conference games and only eight conference teams. All these teams need a game somehow. They need a game.
No, I understand. And schedules are done so far in advance now that it's hard to find a game. And you can't go and find a game in the FCS because they're already playing one with South Dakota, and you can't play 2 in a year that helps you towards bowls. So I think right now, if that's what they have to do, that's what they have to do.
It'd be for 1 year, just till they can figure this out.
I just don't necessarily agree with it.
So even if it's 1 year, even if you have to do a home and home, even if it's like, hey, we can't get any more non-conference games this year, we're just going to make it easy. We have all this inventory because all of our teams need a game. We'll just have them play each other once. It's going to be non-conference. You have to do that regardless. So if right now, Brad, you have to play one of your teams home and home to make it work, then your 2 options would be just pick those matchups now versus wait till the end of the season. You still would rather, even if it's going to have to be another Pac-12 team, you still would rather just pick it now.
Pick them now. Pick them now. I understand what the conference is saying, though, because now, the drawback is pick them now, as those 2 teams could play each other again in a week, right? It's like the Fresno thing, the championship game, right? Could that ever happen where they're going to have to play and all of a sudden they face again in a week? I don't know. Theoretically, it could happen, right? Let's say Boise State has to play Washington State again the last week, even though it's not conference.
I don't know for sure if they decide it now. I don't know if I don't think those would necessarily all be the last week of the regular season. They would. I think that the only way they would do it this way is if they just leave that week open and then set these matchups. But I think if it's just, hey, Oregon State, Boise State, you're playing twice this year. The matchup in September is non-conference. The matchup in November is conference. I think you could still finish Boise State finished their season against Utah State this year. They could have played again.
Sure.
The next year. That happens every year.
Well, no, I'm talking about back-to-back weeks in a championship game.
But I'm saying Boise State played Utah State on Black Friday, and if Utah State was the second best team, they would have played again the next week.
Oh, yeah, we had to do
that
it.
happens pretty much that could happen regardless of whether you're playing a team twice or the scheduling format.
Yeah, we had to do that with Fresno State in 17 with Rip. But my point is this: I can understand where you can guarantee that can't happen in the last week if you wait and you flex it.
Okay.
Right. I think that's a positive. But what my only situation is, when is this decision going to be made? That's the hardest thing to figure out. Okay, it's a flex last week. Okay, perfect. When does that decision made? Is it made 2 weeks before that game? Is it made 3 weeks before that game?
I think you'd have to at least decide who the home teams are going to be, because teams know they're going to need home games. So they might have to say these 4 teams get home games. These 4 teams are going to have road games. We'll figure out the matchups. But you're right. I mean, I don't know if you could do that on a week notice for everybody involved.
And then all of a sudden now you have to be very deliberate of what you do because of season tickets. Right? I mean, you got to make sure who's home and who's away. Now, because you have to give the season ticket holder a game to make, you're spending whatever amount of money. Like, I don't want to go for 5 home games. I'm not going to pay the money for 5 home games. So then that has to be dealt with, because as a season ticket holder, if I was a season ticket holder, I'm like, no, wait a minute here. Well, why am I paying all this money for 5 games? I want a 6th game.
Well,
so, I mean, I think if they did it that way, you're going to get guaranteed 6 games. But if I was on the coaching side, I was like, okay, then this decision is going to be made 2 weeks before we play that game. I mean, it's hard. I mean, because all the GAs you're going into a crunch bowl game situation or a championship game situation.
And then for the good teams, you'd have to do it again the next week.
Correct. And now all of a sudden you have to, okay, let's say that Boise State plays on a Saturday, right? Now they're waiting for all those games to be done, and then the conference is going to tell you on Sunday who you're playing. Cool. So GAs, you better get in there. We need these 9-10 games broken down, right? And then we're going to start
put in advanced work on like 5 teams you might play and do extra work that won't even matter.
Well, but you still have to get ready for the current game.
The one thing is you will have played all these teams already.
I would agree, but if let's say you're playing a game and you're playing like you said, Oregon State, and you played them in September, a lot of things can change between September and where you're going to.
I'm just saying it's a little easier than like a straight bowl game where you never played the team.
Easier, but you still got to watch all the games, because when you break down the last 4, everything goes in rotation. I would just rather say, hey, everybody's playing. You're playing there. You're playing here. You're playing here, and that's the way it's going to be.
And I still think there's a chance that could happen. I mean, let's be honest. It's a 1-year thing. Conference realignment has caused a lot of these unforeseen problems and things, and they thought they were going to get more teams to join the league. They couldn't get any more teams this year. They still, big picture, want to add, I think, at least 1 or 2 more football. One more football school would be perfect, so you just get the round robin, 8 games. Everybody plays everybody. They couldn't get that done for this year. So whatever happens this year is going to be a one-off kind of anomaly type thing to get through the season. And they're looking at different options, I guess, to play with. And those are options. A couple of the teams have found non-conference games. I think I saw there's a couple of teams that have already agreed to some other games. So it might not even be all 8 teams too that are doing this. It would be 4 or 6. So I don't know if that changes things, but we'll see. I think they said the next couple of weeks they're hoping to get some news out on some of that kind of stuff with the Pac-12. A lot of it, Brad, is waiting on this playoff format. That's kind of dictating a lot of this. Once the playoff format is decided and conferences and teams kind of know what it looks like to get into the playoff next year, then I think that's going to lead to some quick dominoes falling on a lot of this. So we'll see. But again, final thought: you're taking Indiana tonight.
I am.
Okay.
Voice crack. Yeah.
Indiana to cover. You said by 13, so Indiana to cover.
Indiana's going to cover. I think Indiana by 13. Yeah, 13.
Okay, Indiana by double digits. You heard it from Brad Bedell here. So go make your find your local bookie, fly down to Vegas, drive down to Jackpot, make your big wager, and if you lose, don't pay. Just say Brad Bedell told you that it was good.
Yep, make sure you do that. That'll make a lot of sense. I'll meet you. I'll meet you and pay out.
Brad, appreciate it as always on a holiday here for making this work today. Thanks for coming on, and appreciate you. Should be fun watching the game tonight, and we'll do it again next Monday.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Brad. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
There he is, Brad Bedell. Appreciate him for joining us. Thank you to all you guys for watching the show. I am off to the airport, headed to Laramie, Wyoming. We'll have live coverage from Laramie, Wyoming, the team hotel tomorrow morning, getting you set for Boise State and Wyoming on Bronco Nation News. And so looking forward to that. May try to get Mike Burns or somebody to come on for a few minutes if we can. Appreciate everybody for watching the show. Go subscribe on YouTube. Go subscribe at BroncoNationNews.com. Our $5 a month special ends tonight. Last day is today, the portal special, 50% off the annual subscriptions at BroncoNationNews.com. That ends tonight. So if you're on the fence, certainly this is your last chance to take advantage of our 50% off deal. Not sure when the next deal will come, but you can subscribe at BroncoNationNews.com. You can go keep this discussion going in the message boards. Go grab a Sun Cruiser. Enjoy the football game tonight, folks, with a Sun Cruiser, the iced tea vodkas, the lemonade vodkas, and of course, when you're looking for that next car or truck, our title sponsor, Lithia Ford of Boise. You can view their full inventory and check them out online at lithiafordboise.com. Hope you guys have a great day and enjoy the football tonight. We'll be back from Laramie, Wyoming, 9 a.m. tomorrow with Jay Tuss, getting you set for Boise State and Wyoming. So appreciate Brad for coming on. We had some football talk, some basketball talk, and we'll be a little more basketball heavy tomorrow, getting you set on a game day. But appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks to Sun Cruiser. Thanks to Lithia Ford of Boise. Thanks to all of our major sponsors at Bronco Nation News. Go support the sponsors, folks. You cannot keep this show free of charge on YouTube here and social media unless you support the sponsors. So support the sponsors. Tell them it's because of BNN. And as always, take a picture, post it on social media of you supporting a BNN sponsor, and we'll try to get you hooked up with a cool prize here in the near future. So appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of your day. I'm off to Laramie. We'll talk to you there tomorrow. And hope you have a great day. Bronco Nation News online, BroncoNationNews.com. Take care, everybody.